Hello, everyone out there. I have Kathy with me. Hello, Kathy. How are you?
Hi, all.
And I have Ken Cuperus, who I'm so excited that he's here because you're the mastermind of Mistletoe Murders. And that's what we're here to talk about. We might want to keep you forever. We'll try.
Aw.
We'll try not to, but we have like so much to say already. Look, we already have someone who's tuning in because there's like a delay, and she's glad that you're here. She's obsessed. This is Teresa. She's obsessed with this as well.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
All right. So let's get to know you. I'm going to ask you some dumb questions.
Okay.
That's okay. No brainer questions. So I was thinking, especially with your background, do you have like a favorite Christmas cartoon? You know, those cartoons that come out for the kiddos at Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with them. I would say, okay. I think the one that I grew up watching and loving the most was probably Mickey's Christmas Carol, which was kind of a 45-minute Disney special that was on 80s.
Yeah.
But I have to add Charlie Brown Christmas to that too, because that's kind of my childhood as well. Although I think Charlie Brown Halloween was a bit bigger deal for me, but Charlie Brown Christmas is also something I really watched every single year. So I got to give it a shout out.
And the beautiful tree and the beautiful message at the end. I love it. I love it. My students have
sorry. Did you folks have Hard Rock and Coco and Joe?
I don't know what that is.
In my area, so you didn't have it. Yeah, that was a big Christmas theme around my parts.
Would say that Hard Rock and Coco and
Hard Rock and Coco. Excuse me, and Joe. They were little people, like little minion type people.
Oh, wow. No, I've never heard of that.
I never heard of it either, Kathy. We have to look it up.
It must be a regional thing.
Okay.
That's really interesting. I'm a child of the 80s, so a lot of my references and stuff I love are 80s and early 90s based.
Yeah. I'm a child of when the dinosaurs ruled the earth, so yeah. I can understand there's going to be some disparity here.
Oh, my God. Oh, gosh. What about your favorite, like, mystery?
Well, I mean, I for me, I grew up watching Murder, She Wrote. I love Murder, She Wrote. That I named the town after it, after Jessica, which was why I popped into
We love that.
because any chance I can tell people that I do, it's just so like it's just such a big part of my childhood. Again, grew up in the 80s, so Moonlighting, Remington Steele. These are the shows that influenced my writing even still today. Like just the blue sky, light, funny, but still with stakes detective series. Magnum, PI, all those kind of 80s classics.
No Scooby-Doo?
I did like Scooby-Doo, but when my era of Scooby-Doo was kind of the bad era because it had Shaggy, or not Shaggy, it had Scrappy-Doo, and it was kind of like the older ones, and then the newer ones that my kids love, I even like better. But the ones from my childhood weren't the best.
No. Yeah, my sister would be what you're saying, and mine is before that because we have a 15-year gap. And are you Coco or eggnog?
Is that Coco and Joe and Hard Rock?
No, hot cocoa.
I would have to say neither. I think, I would have to add a third and say probably like mulled cider or apple cider. I'm not into like creamy, like I have like a little bit of lactose issues. So anything creamy is I'm not a big fan.
No. Kathy, what about you? We talked about this. I think you're Coco, right?
I'm Coco for sure.
And you've got, what was that one that you loved? The gingerbread one? Is that the one you were telling me?
Gingerbread Coco, yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah, she put it all out. I like them both. I love both of them. All right, so let's dive in. Tell us the inspiration for this whole series. I'm so excited because
I think you told us already.
It's a podcast, and you have books, right? And now we've got this series. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. So I created this probably about 5 years ago. I was trying to come up with an idea for a TV show that, I'm a big lover of Christmas and holidays,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously mystery is something that I'm also very fond of. And I just had never really seen a combination of those two things before. At least not in a serialized TV space or a episodic TV space. So I came up with the concept, and I was, I usually pitch television shows. I work in television a lot, so I had kind of created it for television, and then my wife, who is a producer, her name's Michelle Melanson. She's a producer for a lot of stuff, and we have a production company together. And she was having a meeting with Audible about some other ideas she had for Audible projects. But they were too young, and Audible was like, "Oh, we're not quite doing kids right now. Do you have anything in the mystery space?" And I had shared my idea with her. And so she said, "Oh, well, what about this?" My husband kind of came up with this idea. And they were like, "Yes, we love it. Yes, let's do that." And that was Mistletoe Murders. And at the time, it was called the Mistletoe Mysteries. But there was a couple of other books with a similar title. So we kind of came up with Mistletoe Murders as a way to get around that. And we did that for Audible. And it was just a huge hit, very surprising hit for me. Because I had never written for, that just Audible before. Like it's like losing a dimension as a TV writer. Trying to write without virtue of visuals was a little scary for me. But and it was it was like we kind of got the yes in June, and it had to be on their service by October or November. So it was like very quick. And I think that probably is what saved me, because I didn't have time to think about it. I just had time to kind of write it. And yeah, it did very well. And we got another season of that. And, as I had assumed with the proof of concept, now that, it was popular on Audible, it was not long before people started looking at it from, the perspective it was first devised, television or film. And Hallmark was like, they just dove right in and were like, this is perfect for us. I think it just dovetailed so nicely with their Hallmark Plus initiative. They needed, they wanted to do some event series to kick it off.
Mm-hmm.
And this just kind of like was just perfect for them. So it was just good timing and good fortune. And the rest is history.
So you mentioned you're an 80s kind of person.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned some of your favorite things, Murder, She Wrote, and you said Moonlighting, and there was another one. What was the other one?
Remington Steele.
Remington Steele. Okay, so I've got a question for you. It's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg? So I agree with you. Remington Steele and all of those I loved. But I loved them as much for the mystery as I did for the chemistry and the relationship between the leads. I'm all about relationships. Roxanne, I tell you, plot, mystery, I love the mystery of it too, but I love the way the relationship, the two leads grow out of the relationship. So was that your intent? I mean, were you going to do a mystery about this couple that, came together, or did that just grow out of the chemistry with the characters?
No, it was always so. I'll tell you a little secret about the project. Is when I had first kind of come up with it, the whole idea was sort of a satire of the kind of traditional holiday movies that the ones that you'll find on Hallmark or other networks, the softer kind of like romance-driven stories. It was sort of a satire of that, in that I wanted her to be the character of Emily to be that on the outside, but on the inside, you got to hear her real thoughts, which were a little spicier, a little more hardened, a little more, I wanted her to have those two characters, and so that she was like a Hallmark on the outside, but like True Detective on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So, but always like always there was going to be a relationship angle. The only difference was that when I first developed it, I had developed Violet as Emily's daughter, and it wasn't just in the very early development. It just wasn't working for me. There was something wrong with it. And then when I finally realized that Violet needed to be Sam's daughter, everything kind of clicked into place. Much easier.
Yeah.
I love that she's his daughter because it brings out a vulnerability of Sam that it's almost like a role reversal of the traditional couple and which parent, the single parent. So I think that is fabulous. I really like that. As you might remember from the last time you were on, I had said that Emily's voiceover was kind of distracting for me. And then I watched, that was after the first mystery, the first 2 episodes. After the second 2, I'm laughing out loud at some of her thoughts because I started to see the humor, and maybe there wasn't as much humor in the first mystery, and it started coming out in the second, but I was cracking up on several. A lot of humor came out of this one. Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, I mean the narration, the inner thought obviously was for the podcast it became, or the Audible series, it became necessary because she was playing a character who wasn't who she said she was. There was no way to express that without having inner thoughts, because then she would never be able to say it unless she talked to cats about it, which is always not the best device. So and then when I went to, and then as we went to TV, we did have discussions about it. Should we do this? And I said, it's such a great tool. One, I love Christmas noir, and it kind of gives us this little feel of Christmas tree or Christmas noir. And two, like it's exactly as you say, like we can hear her true thoughts about something, and they're funny and they're poignant, and they're like, we see her vulnerabilities that she's not willing to show people, but we hear them. And it's just a great tool.
I gotta tell you though, you keep killing off these actors I absolutely adore. They're like my favorite actors. And like Tom Cavanaugh, he's just the best. He's fantastic, and I like more. We need more of him. So
I know. I talked to Tom recently, and he said, "Can I come back for season 2?" And I said, "Tom, we killed you." and he said, "Well, I can have a twin brother."
I was about to say, when he was on The Flash, he played like 8 or 9 different roles.
That's right.
So yeah, it's doable.
It is doable.
So call up Tom when you're done and say, "Hello, Tom. Roxanne asked for you to be on the podcast, and we hear back from you."
Oh no, I know he's very busy right now. He's doing a series in Canada, actually, in Halifax. I think.
Nice, very nice. So I have an obsession with the spiciness of this, and I remember I talked to Sarah like in the late summer. And when I was talking to Sarah Jo, we were talking about the spiciness, and she said it's like a go for it because it's Hallmark Plus. Now it's on Hallmark Channel, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but the level of spiciness, Kathy and I were even saying, even how like physically you get into each other's space is a little different. And they're just so good together. The 2 main leads, like they have lots of chemistry. So I am always looking and analyzing. I'm going to show you. I wouldn't listen. I was by myself and I watched this over like when it premiered on Hallmark Plus. I was in my house by myself, jumping around, going, yes, because nobody was home.
Well, I'll tell you how that kind of came about. Is I'm not like a guy who's seen a lot of Hallmark projects. I actually did a little bit of work for Hallmark on a movie that I don't think it ever got completed. But I did a little bit of development on it. But so I'm not familiar with a lot of the rules or a lot of a lot of the tropes or a lot of the language of the shows of the movies. And so I said to them, I'm just going to do what I do. I'm a blue sky writer. I'm a very light, procedural, friendly, funny, like that's what I do. So I'm going to give that to you and you tell me where it's too far. or where you need to like, or where I've broken some of your rules, and I'll fix it. Like, I'm not precious.
Yep.
And for, you know, they were like, you know what, like, there's lots of broken rules, but you know, it's Hallmark Plus, and like, we really want to like see what this looks like. They did pull back in a few places. There was a little bit of the language got pulled back, because on the Audible we do have a little bit more language, a little bit more cussing, but not even much. Like nothing, no hard swear words, but that was the one area they were like, I don't know how far we can go there.
Right,
but,
right.
They were really kind of generous in just saying like, hey, this is a new thing for us. This is a new service. Let's see how it goes. And then we kind of got grandfathered in when it went on to the regular Hallmark channel. They're like, well, we've already kind of established this. They did pull us back in a few areas. They're just like, we know our fans, we know our base. There's a few things we think will not go over well. And, so we talked about those and we adjusted those, but there is still a few things.
They don't listen. Don't listen. No, I know. So I'm not going to show you all the little things that I have yet, but I'm curious before I forget this. What's the writer's room like? Is there a writer's room? Who's writing? You know what I mean? I did see the names. I did check the credits, but how's that working? Like, what do you do?
We only have 6 episodes, so we have a pretty small room.
Yeah.
I come up with all the stories. I kind of map out the mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
And then my number 2, Michelle Ricci, who's terrific. She, between the two of us, and then we have like, usually we try to have another writer or two to break stories with. But Michelle and I do a lot of the heavy lifting, and then Shelley Scarrow was with us in season 1, and Jesse Gabe was with us in season 2. But we're in a room for a couple of weeks where we kind of have a big board of ideas, and we kind of write down all the ideas on like a big piece of paper. I wonder if I have.
Oh yeah, show us.
Yeah. I kept this. This is what it looks like when we break our story. Let's see if I can open this up on our boards with our giant papers.
This is for season 1 or 2, because I don't want any spoilers.
No, this is season 1.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, so it kind of looks like this. It's like,
oh my!
And we we map it all out. We write it on the board, and we put all our beats down, and that's like one page of about 5.
Wow.
And that's like, and then we take pictures of it, and we go home and we write it up on the computer and send it in to get the network's thoughts on it, and then we write the scripts. Yeah, so it's like 3 or 4 weeks of just being in a room, laughing and having fun with some other writers and coming up with all the ideas.
Is there?
I have a question about how you make the sausage.
Wait, hold on. I just think about this. I don't want to forget. Have you ever had, like, you think you got it mapped out and you think you have the dialogue and whatnot, and then the actor says to you, yeah, this is not working. I wouldn't say this. I feel that. Have you had that happen yet or no?
Yeah, but then we just fire them. No, I'm just kidding. No, it doesn't. The actors generally don't do that. What they'll do is they'll come and say, I have some ideas on how, like, I have a joke idea, or do you think maybe this would be a good place to, have like a really cool romantic beat? And it's not, Sarah is like very generous that way. She's always kind of offering up ways to plus areas, and she'll say, oh, I don't quite understand this line. How, I love the intent and I love the scene. How do we reshape this so that, like, because, once you hire an actor like Sarah, you're handing her that character, right?
Yes.
And like, she becomes that character. And like, even I, as the guy who created the character, have to step back and go, she knows the character now better than I do. Cool. It would be foolish of me to like, disregard that. And she's so brilliant and so generous with her ideas. So we do get that generally just from like the main, a lot of the day players don't tend to do that. But I always listen, and I have no problem with anybody coming up to me with line ideas and joke ideas, and I think it only makes things better. And if I don't like it, I just say, I don't think it quite works. And
no, no, goodbye. No, go ahead, Kathy. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, this question is kind of how you make the sausage. So Sarah's doing her thing, and she does a stunt, and she bangs up the hand.
Mm-hmm.
What happens behind the scenes? Does everyone kind of scramble? Do you have to go back in and figure out, how do we write this in, or do we write it in, or do we?
Yeah, I mean that was a big one, obviously, but because it was our last week and we were down to our final location, and we only had maybe 2 or 3 days left at that location. So, basically, what we had to do was shoot the scenes that the rest of the. I mean, we had the rest of the day to shoot that fight scene. That we ended up doing that with, and all we had to like just kind of shoot around her and shoot the stuff that she wasn't in while she had to go get her hand taken care of, and she was back on set like the next day, you know, and then it became about just hiding the hand and making her day a little easier, writing like just, you know, we did do some adjustments to make the blocking a little gentler and a little easier for her, but she's a trooper, man. She's like, we had one more week of shooting, and she was there the whole way. And then for our wrap party, we went axe throwing, and she was like broken hand and all. She was out there throwing axes at that target. It was like, you know, she is very resilient.
And she did the scene at the very end of the episode 4, I guess it would be, where she's fighting the bad guy, and it looked like her. I couldn't tell if it was that it was a stunt person. So well, she was great. She jumped right back in there, huh?
You're talking about season 1, I assume. That's
season 1.
Yeah. So you know, she did a lot of that herself. Like we did shoot it with a stunt person for like a couple of shots that we, you know, but I would say 80% of that is her. She worked really hard. Again, we shot that. We shoot the big physical stuff generally in her last weeks, just in case. And she worked really hard. She worked all weekend on the choreography, and you know, she did everything you see happening in that scene. She did. There's a couple of movements where we did use the stunty, but like it's all her. Like she was a trooper. There was nothing she said she didn't want to do. Like she wanted to go the whole way.
I have a tendency to what I've learned is I enjoy these shows so much. And I've been on for most of the time, I tend to be disappointed in the source material. You know, I watch this fantastic show that's been brought to life, and then I read the book, and I'm like, meh. I have not listened to the audio cast of Mistletoe Murders. How is it? What is the relationship between the audio shows and the shows we see on TV?
Well, the only thing that's the same is the pilot. The only thing that's the same is the first episode.
Okay.
But you'll recognize like we had like the same cliffhanger at the end of season 1. You'll recognize a few little story points that kind of peek through both. But as soon as I started doing the TV show, we made the decision to have 2 very separate backstories, and like keep the 2 shows on completely separate paths, so that people can enjoy them completely independent of each other.
Oh, okay, good to know.
I mean, there's a character in the Audible that one of the main characters dies early on, and you know, so they're not in the Audible anymore, but they're a big part of our show, so still, and will continue. You know, like I just decided that, like, you know, I was worried that because Hallmark, they were really excited about the backstory and they wanted to kind of move forward through it a little bit faster. Mm-hmm. And I was worried we were going to go faster than the podcast, and that then the people who really started on the podcast might be disappointed if like the backstory they've been waiting for there ended up being
out there.
Yeah. So I just changed them. Like there are 2 different stories. Like, you know, cool. She has a mysterious past, but they are not the same at all. They're 2 very different.
Have you seen any crossover between the audience for the audio.
A lot
audio
of crossover. Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of, and it's funny because they are often surprised when they go from one or the other to go, oh, like all the stories are different. Like there's besides the first mystery, the farm, which I even changed the killer for the TV show. There's no real similarity.
Huh.
A couple of the actors cross over, like Gene
I've
Yoon
seen
is
that,
still
yes.
playing Sue, and Kylie Evans is still playing Brooke. But not too much crossover.
Cool
Now-
beans, because now I can like to listen and won't be disappointed or deterred. It's like this,
And
I'm
it's a
watching
totally different experience. Just a
Yeah.
totally different experience. Sarah has TV energy. Like she's got a great energy. And Kobe is who does the podcast, Emily, is just very like silky and like perfect for that. Like people comment all the time about how her voice is so perfect because it's like it just pulls you in and it's so soothing and like it's like a blanket. It's so wonderful. So it's two very different experiences, even with how like the characters are presented.
Cool.
I wanted to go back to the part. So you had to write in the scenes then, if Sarah hurts her hand in real life, you had to write in those scenes where Sam is taking care of Emily and he comes up with the food for her and everything, correct?
Yeah, but that the hand thing. So here's the funny thing: like it was season 2 where she hurt her hand for real. That hand thing was in season 1 was not part of a real injury. That was just
Part of the story. Okay. All right. So then that makes sense to me because I'm like, how would you stop? And then you had to write all of that new stuff in because it shows her vulnerability that she's still afraid to be taken care of, and that lends it all to it. Okay.
It was so funny like that. Yeah. She breaks her hand in season 1 in the story. And then she broke her hand in real life during season 2. But you'll never see it. You'll never notice it. There was when we were editing, I noticed 2 little scenes where you could just see a little bit of the cast from as she moved, and so we cleaned those up in the editing process. But other than that, you'll never know.
Now, how much of a say did you have in choosing the cast, like choosing who Sam is and choosing who Emily is?
Oh, lots. Yeah, we had great discussions about it. I mean, at the end of the day, it was a very obvious choices. Like Sarah and Peter did a chemistry read. After we cast Sarah, we read her and did chemistry reads with a couple of different actors, like 3 or 4 actors, and it was like we were just like, well, it's Sarah and Peter. Like, there's no question. Like, you just go, wow, that they're already fully formed. Like they came out the gate, like perfectly matched for each other. So it was literally a match made in heaven for those 2. And they love each other so much. Like they're best friends now. Like, it's like they've known each other their whole lives. It's so funny to watch them.
I love it. I've seen all kinds of behind the scenes stuff. Peter's going to be our guest in a couple of weeks.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
yes.
he's fun.
We've got a whole lineup. I was going around for everybody. Come on now, everybody, anybody I want to talk to us.
Peter and I grew up in the same city here in Canada, Winnipeg. We're both Winnipeg boys.
Cool.
I thought all the actors lived in St. John. We used to watch Republic of Doyle, and it seems like every single actor in Canada was from St. John and ended up on that show.
My previous show, I created a show called Hudson and Rex about Copper the Dog.
We know.
Yeah. So I was out there for a year, show running that and writing that. So I got a good taste of St. John's. Beautiful place.
I know. We love it. We love Alan Halko too. That man, everything he touches, like the Shop Productions is just like gold. That man's amazing. All right.
We do this all the time. One of my favorite and just fascinating parts of Mistletoe Murders is the dynamic between Violet and Sam.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like there's a role reversal there. She just seems so tuned in to causing him hurt or pain
Yeah.
and wanting to stop it right, right. She knows him inside and out.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated by the dynamic, and I'm hoping at some point, not looking for spoilers, but I'm hoping at some point the ex-wife shows up, or we learn more about that whole family dynamic and why did the marriage break up and why is Violet with Sam
Yeah.
so I got it. That is so well written, and it's like we're getting little clues,
Mhm.
and each episode there's just a little bit more. So I'm hoping that we learn
Well,
more about
we
that.
do. Violet really does come into her own a lot in season 2. She gets we're really seeing her becoming an adult and growing up faster than maybe she even wants to. But yeah, we really have a lot of. I mean, Violet is such a special character, and the actor. I mean, you had her on the show. She's just so lovely and she's so amazing and. She's so easy and fun to write for, so she certainly has more to do this year.
Good, looking forward to it.
So am I. I can't wait for when she's going to be our guest too. We're going to talk about her book.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I have to show you this. Let's see. I don't know how it's going to rearrange our stage. We're okay. All right, so here's me looking. It was kind of like in a slow motion. Now, first of all, Peter Mooney in a tool belt. Okay, Peter Mooney is a police officer, or or a detective, or whatever his title is, and now he's in a tool belt. And I think I was on X, and I put something out there like, if I open up my door and found Peter Mooney, well, not Peter Mooney, Sam in my store in a tool belt, I'd be like, okay, I wouldn't be questioning that. Fix my wall. Let me rip down another one.
Hang on just a sec. Let me go break some stuff.
You know what? I think the tool belt has become an unofficial character on the show because everyone on the crew and the cast is always talking about the tool belt.
It's so great. So, okay. So the whole execution of this is like, they're standing far apart, and then he steps, and then she takes the last step, and she tells him, like, I love when she said she's afraid to be vulnerable, and he says, but I'm a patient man, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then so she's like, but you don't have to be, and she kind of like touches his finger. So I got it all mapped out. Now watch. Then we go to this. They are so into their kiss and so lined up physically, like you don't get this on Hallmark. And then look, like Kathy, you noticed that last time when they were just hugging each other out in the street. That was emotional. I love that scene. That was beautifully written. And she, like, her lip quivered when she was giving those lines. Like, I felt sad. Like
oh my gosh. You know what? I was like, it was kind of a cold night, and even though it was the heat of the summer, but that night it was a little chilly, and I was kind of miserable, sitting in my little chair, tired, and they were doing that scene, and Sarah came over to talk to me, and like she was welling up a little bit, and I said, "Oh, are you okay? Like, is like, are you cold?" And she said, "It's just I'm so this woman and everything she's had to go through, and the life that she's lived, and here she is in this moment, like opening up." Like she was so emotionally attached to the words that she was saying, like that it was that like she couldn't contain her own emotions. So the director started to cry, and I was like, what is happening right now?
So they were standing outside giving that. She was saying her whole story, right? This is the end of episode 4, right? So I watched it because I had to go back. I've watched it millions of times, and I just love how he pulls her in and he just holds on to her. You could see the tear drip from her eye. It was caught on camera. And it was like, oh my gosh. So now we've got a very emotionally charged scene here of like there's vulnerability again, but there's also like that tension between them. And I love how they slow-moed it. And I love where she stands on her toes and she's got her arm wrapped around him. I'm like, wow, they're really making this kiss. Like, look at that. Look.
Well, this is, let me tell you. So Hallmark was, our executives were on set this day and we were all kind of watching it. I think like they were all like, whoo, we had to like get some extra fans to like cool everybody down. But we edited this scene so many times because we were just trying to find the right, like what's too much. So there's even steamier versions. There's more tame versions, but like this is the one that we kind of came to. And like what was, the big question was always, can he pull her back for that second kiss? Like,
yes, I was going to talk about that because he does.
Yeah, and we went, you know what? Like, it's so beautiful. Like, let's just do it. It's like it's so raw. It wasn't written that way. They just did it, and it was like that's the moment they're in. So, like, why would you want to cut away from that? Like, it's so real, right? So, they, to Hallmark's credit, they went, yeah, we got to do this. There was a couple of other little things within the kiss that we had to, lose because it felt like a little bit too steamy, but
I want to see it. So when they pull away, they both have a laugh and a smirk. And then of course, we got more kisses and his hands are like, I was like, what in my goodness gracious is like this? I have to watch this again and 500,000 more times.
Yeah, it was a beautiful moment. It was. Yeah.
It was.
Some shows, like When Calls the Heart, when they still cared, actually had created Bibles for the show and their characters.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would create backstories for everybody, and the actors would know. So on Mistletoe Murders, does, for example, Sarah know all the details of what her big secret is, or is she learning about it as we learn? Well, before we learn about it, but as the scripts are written. And the same for Sam or Peter.
Yeah.
Does he know Sam's backstory and what happened with the marriage and all that stuff?
So, Sarah knows as much as I tell her, because it's like, it's a very layered thing, and I don't want to kind of give everything all at once because then they start thinking a little too far down the road. And it informs their performance in a way that isn't always helpful. Emily's backstory is complicated. She lived a long life, and like we're gonna slowly find out. Even though it feels like, we just learned a lot, there's still gonna be a lot to learn. There's still gonna be things we didn't know, and it's kind of nonlinear, and so yeah, she knows a lot of it. She's a producer on the show, and she likes to be informed of what the stories are. I don't tell Peter anything, and he doesn't ask. He's like, I think he likes discovering it when he reads the script.
Do my script. And are we going to see more of Ray? Because that guy is funny and fascinating, and he's got a connection to Emily, and he's got a connection with Sam. And so, like, there's more to this guy, I'm thinking.
Yeah, Ray. In general, all our supporting characters have a little bit more to do this year. Ray, especially, is well represented throughout. Brooke and June and Sue all have lots to do. Yeah. Like really kind of, we're starting to feel now the town kind of coming together. Like season one was really for me about Emily and Violet and Sam. And then, a few little pieces, but really just kind of like honing in on them. And season two, we widen out a bit and we start to feel like it's more of a community. When I'm doing I always do themes for what the season's going to be. And in season one, our themes were like identity, duality. And in season two, my primary theme was community. And that was kind of like, now we're widening out. We're starting to really kind of feel the people in this town. We introduced a few new people, a few people who look like they were just supporting characters of Mysteries last year. They'll come back and they'll start to feel like the town is populated with these people. And
a whole collection of I don't know what you call them, not background characters, but side characters.
We call it supporting characters. Yeah,
supporting. And you just mentioned June and Brooke and Sue and I hope we're going to see more of some of the choir members because that was so funny with the choir.
She
Deb
loved
with her
that.
off key singing, and I guess we're not going to see more of Velma because she, killed somebody.
Not for 5 to 10.
Not
Yeah,
for a while.
5 to
But
10.
then the black guy who was he had just come out of prison. He's like, nope, not my type.
Oh, yeah.
No women.
Yeah,
They just all have such
absolutely. You know what?
flavor to them.
Lance mentioned that he was a mechanic, so like maybe there'll be a time where we do a story that where we'll go to like involves a mechanic, and that could be Lance. Like that's what we like to do. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we see Debbie again one day, or these are the people that live in the town. So they won't be there all the time because we can't afford to have 100 characters. I'd love to, but slowly I think a lot of them will come back because we love them. Deb, one of my favorite people in the world, Raven is the actor. She's like my good luck charm. She's in everything I do. I just think she's so amazing, and she kills it. Like none of that stuff that she was doing in the singing, like moving her, like moving her neck around, and that was all her. Like that was like she came to the table with that. It wasn't written, as part of the character, and then she did it during rehearsal, and I was like, that is like absolutely beautiful.
Do you guys have a list of actors and actresses? Sorry, Roxanne. Do you have a list of actors and actresses that's on your wish list for you want them to come on and be the murderer or the victim?
I do. I have a lot of actors I've worked with in the industry, like David Hewlett, who plays Ray. I worked with when I was a staff writer on Stargate Atlantis in the early 2000s, and he was just like, he was such a great guy, and I remember thinking I'm going to work with him whenever I can. And I created a multi-camera sitcom here in Canada several years ago, and I put him on that, and then I convinced him to come play Ray. So like I'm really loyal to people who like who I've worked with in the past and who have been generous to me.
That seems to be a running theme throughout your country. People are so loyal in this industry.
Yeah, it is true that way. And then all the people who did the Audible series, like that's not they come and do that. It doesn't take long, a couple hours, but it doesn't pay very well, the Audible. And so I always have to kind of twist some arms and say, well, getting people like Enrico Colantoni or
oh my gosh, I love him.
Yeah, so he plays a character on the Audible version. Like guys like that, they're not people who are going to come out and do things where they make $5 unless you're friends with them and like you've worked with them before and they trust you. And everyone who did the Audible podcast, like I'm trying to find parts for on the main podcast. Like Josette Jorge, who played Fred and Noah's wife. I can't remember her name. I can't remember her character name, but she was Morgan. That's it. Yeah. So she played June on the Audible podcast.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
And I was telling Roxanne, I know her from The Equalizer.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's fantastic. She's like, again, she's someone on my sitcom. I hired her as one of the lead roles, and she's just one of my favorite people. She's just so terrific. So, but that's it. Like Tony Napo, who also does a role on the podcast, will be playing a role in season 2. He's a Canadian institute. He's on Ginny and Georgia now as a lawyer, and so like
I'm gonna have to do some research so I'll know who's coming on and what the.
And I'm trying to get Enrico to do, like, he's just so busy, but I'm trying to get him to do something. I wanted him to. I had asked him to play Ray actually at one point, but he was doing 2 shows at the time. He's doing English teacher and Fubar maybe with Arnold Schwarzenegger here in Toronto, and he just didn't have the time. So
what a nice problem to have. Yeah.
He's a very.
I love Ray's hair. how they're doing his hair, the characters, right? His hair's wild, and it gets
It
more
got a
wild.
little away. It got a little away from us. Yeah,
I love
you'll
it
notice
though.
that in season 2. It's like we were all
Great.
like, when did that happen?
I don't know. And I love the way they dress Emily. She is the best fabrics and
Yeah.
clothes and colors. I wanted to talk a little bit about the set, but before we do, I get there because you've been here, been very generous, almost 45 minutes. What about these mysteries? Like they're layered. You think it's one person, and then they did kind of do something, and then you find out that there's just a different murderer. Like they're how do you come up with this? It's really good. This is why I love the mystery part.
I think just from, being a big fan of mysteries, I read a lot of mystery books. I watch a lot of movies and TV shows. I see the structure. I kind of subscribe to the Agatha Christie style of mystery, where there's a wheel of suspects, usually about 4 or 5 suspects, and they all have motivation. They all could have done it. At the end of the episode, you wouldn't be surprised if any of them were, presented as the killer. It's kind of like the movie Clue, where, for the original theatrical release, they had 3 different endings because you could go to different theaters and see a different ending, because they all had motivation and they all had a good reason to kill the person. And when you do that, it's easy to kind of mislead the audience along the way and hopefully surprise.
Kathy, do you remember in the first one where there's a line where June, she says, because I know her, I know June, she wouldn't have her good friend, she wouldn't have killed because of how she took care of her cats. Kathy's like, I wanted her to kill him. I wanted her to be.
You know what? There was a time I actually considered it for the TV version because I wanted to change the killer from the Audible.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, that would be surprising. But the feedback from Hallmark was, we really like Emily having a best friend, and we want to keep the character because that character does not come back in the podcast. June is just a one-off mystery character, and not a supporting returning character. And Hallmark's like, oh, we really like Emily having a close confidant, and that informed that. Otherwise, I might have done that.
Now, wait a minute, hold on. The song for the end, because I didn't have a chance to finish, is who chose that? Did you have a hand in that? Because it's not a super popular song. It's the one by chance. I think you would say Pena, because it's Spanish with like an accent, and it's the one where they're kissing and it says you can leave the light on. Did you choose it because the lyrics are amazing for her?
Yeah.
That's the end of season 1, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, so when I edited that, I used the song Hallelujah, because it was like it was so perfect. And and so for a long time, because I put that song there, we struggled to find the right song to replace it with, because that wasn't a song that we could ultimately use, but we all kind of fell in love with the mood of it.
Okay.
And so we really kind of spent a lot of time trying to find the right song. I'm not like, I think it was like Hallmark and my wife and the director who all kind of, I'm like, my music tastes are stuck in the 70s and 80s. So I usually just kind of listen to the song. They usually give me 3 or 4 songs and I tell them which one I like the best. And then they tell me whether we can afford it or not. So it's
well, this was beautiful, and I had to listen to the lyrics to get some of it, because I the main part you get, but I wanted to read the rest, and they're really not even out there, because that's how it's not that like well known, but it is a beautiful song. And
it was perfect. Yeah.
And one of the things, it's like says scars on my heart, and then the other thing was came so far through the dark, which is definitely her, like in her vulnerability. So I was like, oh,
we put a lot of stock in that. And like, I think you'll notice too in season 2 that if you take note of the music choices, they really are. We even had some indie songs where they were willing to like tweak the lyrics for us to like kind of better. So there's I don't know if we ultimately did that because they were already so perfect, but there was a lot of thought put into it, and we got ahead of it a little in season 2. We were a little behind the gun in season 1, so we it was a little bit like we were on the air for our first episode on Halloween last year, and we were like still editing and doing the post in like August and September, and so this year we had a little bit more time. We took our time with it. We found a lot more indie artists who we thought, well, wouldn't it be great to like promote some new artists and so we worked hard on that. So yeah, the music, that song turned out fantastic, and I think moving forward you'll start to feel more of that.
Yeah, I do. I felt it because, as I was saying before, I already gobbled up all of season 2. I have to be careful because I have to remember what we know and what we don't know.
Right.
All I can say is it's good. It's so good. Go ahead, Kathy. I'm just going to get ready to add the last little things about the set. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I used to work with a colleague who always made a presentation to clients by saying, the end, let's start with the end and then work our way back. Mm-hmm. And I've seen some, showrunners and creators with their shows who said, yep, I was only counting on 4 seasons, and we've got the ending written. In general, when you do these shows, whether it's, the Audible or any other show you've ever done, do you think ahead in terms of, this is how I want this to wrap, this is my vision for how everything's going to wrap up? Or do you just let it kind of organically play out until it plays out?
I have an ending, but I'm also not so inflexible that I'm not willing to let it change, because TV and idea creation is very organic, and it surprises you sometimes. I think I know who the killer is, and halfway through the story I realize that I have the wrong killer. So you gotta let yourself be organically change things as they come, but also you got to know what you're working towards. Otherwise, you're just going to be all over the place. So I know exactly where we're going, but I'm willing.
You'll tell us later, right?
I'm willing to change that if the story dictates.
And Roxanne, I'll shut up in just a moment. I got one more.
Keep going. You're fine.
So Emily has all these support people. She's got Violet and Sue and June and Brooke that she, relates to and talks to. What's with Sam? Are we going to see any kind of, friendship or relationship for him to bounce off of? If you can say.
Yeah, I do think we see a little bit of that this season. I mean, as a single father and a cop, like, he just doesn't. He's not a guy who has time. And even, if Emily wasn't who she is and is always crossing paths, I don't even know if they would have got to the point they got to, because it eats up all his time. But I do think that Violet's getting older. She's going to be off to university or traveling or whatever she's going to do in life, and I think down the road, I think Sam is going to find time to and we will start to find that. But we saw him, he plays on a hockey team, and he does have a few people that he confides in along the way. But he doesn't have the same support system that Emily has with June and Brooke and Sue and all the same. I mean, he knows these people his whole life, though, so that is also available to him. But we're seeing most of it through Emily's perspective. So
I have to take issue. You said he didn't have time, but I tell you what, he had time to put on the toolkit and go try to take care of the leakage problem. And
well, that's because Violet went away for Christmas and he was alone on Christmas Eve. So,
but he also had time to go find all these different dishes because he didn't know what her preference was. So when it comes to Emily, the boy kind of makes time.
Yes, absolutely.
He does. And I think that I love so I know the focus is on Emily, and I'm okay as a viewer. I love that. And in my mind, he does have a support system. We just haven't seen the opportunity yet. and who it would be. Maybe it's not as much as, the female leads or whatever, but I know he does.
I
And
think it's going to be Ray.
right. Oh, okay. Right. And because like you said, he is on a hockey team. So I'm sure he is friends with, and we haven't just seen it yet. That's to come. I love when we don't know every single thing about a character and we get to unravel them a little bit at a time, and then focus shifts and it's just more wonderful stuff. Before I show you a few minutes, like I know you've been here forever with us.
I'm good. I'm good. Take your time.
I want to talk about, I'm obsessed with the set. And I did talk to Sierra about it a little bit, but I wanted to share some things. I wanted to just share what Arlene had said earlier, that Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, gosh, I love Nancy Drew growing up. I loved all her books up, were my favorite as a kid. And I love Simon and Simon and Rockford Files. I love Rockford Files. And I remember watching Canon with my dad too. So she was sharing some of her generational.
Canon. I have a complete series set of Canon, and I have a complete series set of Rockford Files. These are Simon and Simon. I love Riptide is another one I love.
Yeah. Barnaby Jones.
Yeah, Barnaby Jones. That's one I came to later. It was a little bit before my time. Hardcastle and McCormick.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
Scarecrow and Mrs. King, like these. These were all like,
Was Heart to Heart at that time, or is that later?
Love them.
Was right in there. I loved Heart to Heart.
Yeah,
loved Heart to Heart, and I loved Scarecrow and Mrs. King. They had great chemistry. Oh, I couldn't wait for them to.
Oh, I was. Yeah. I love all those shows.
And then Margie is here, and she says, "This was a wonderful show. Thank you, Ken. Thank you."
You're welcome.
All right, let me quickly show you this. So I took, off my TV. I could have done millions here, but I love that. I know it's a set, but look, whether it's AI or whatever you want to call it, look how detailed it is. It's
look
like
at the water puddle. That kills me.
I want to be there. I want to walk there. And if Emily,
did you say it was AI?
I was just saying whatever. I was joking. You know how everybody says it's AI.
No, this is all. There's nothing here that's not practical.
I know, I'm joking.
Yeah, we don't get me started on that.
I know. That's why I said it, because it's nonsense. But Sierra was telling us that it's a set.
It is a backlot. Yeah, these all these. So this was this is like in the middle of a field in a small town just outside of Toronto. It's like, it's perfect. It's great. We have to be careful how we shoot it, because if we shoot too far one way, you'll see it's just fields around it. So, but we don't do any green screen. We don't do any adding of buildings or augmentations. What we shoot is what's on the street.
Now, in your mind, when you were making, now I took this as I did this one because it is so filled inside, so detailed. The set decorator probably had like the best time putting all these everything's in there. And then her apartment, it's beautiful. It's just so detailed. And now in your mind, is that what you had? Is this what you pictured?
Yeah. So like, this whole concept of the Christmas store, like this also comes kind of from my childhood of whenever we would go traveling, we would come across these Christmas stores that were like, in the summer you'd go in and the Christmas store would be selling.
We had that by me. Yes.
Yeah. And so, and they were always the busiest store on the street, even in the middle of summer. It's like, that always struck me. So this, in my mind, this was never intended to be a Christmas only or holiday window only show. I was prepared for this to be a network, airs from October till June, and the stories are whenever in the year.
Right.
Because the Christmas store is such a year-round concept in these small towns. So I had I had a vision of what I wanted there. And I wanted it to be fairly big, because it needs to be shootable, because it was going to be in a lot of scenes. It's our primary, and the last thing you want is a store that's too small and you have trouble getting all the cameras in, people in. And so when we put the footprint down in our studio, it was massive. We all went in there and we went, oh my God, like, how are we going to fill this? Like, what are we going to do? And to the designers, the set designers credit, like, they just did a lovely, lovely job on every aspect of it.
I love it. I mean, I want to.
And at Hallmark, they've been generous too. They helped us fill it out. They send us paper, wrapping paper for the paper wall, and they send us cards for the rack. Like they've been very generous.
I noticed
store as well.
I noticed the cards in the rack. I'm like, those are Hallmark cards. Now, this is Robin, and Robin is saying, before we talk about this last little photo right there, Robin said, absolutely one of my favorite Hallmark mystery series to date. So, so good. Great actors all around. So fun to watch and such exciting storylines. Keep you guessing each episode. Thank you, Robin.
Yes, that's the goal. That's what we try to do. Sometimes more successfully than others, but we always give it our best.
And look at the detail in this. It was amazing. I wanted to go to that bookstore.
Like, this was my favorite set of season one, and it was like a last minute set because we came late to the idea and we weren't sure what we were going to do for it.
It was the best.
And I said I don't want this to be like a grimy, used bookstore. I want this to be like where you go to get like classic expensive books.
Yes.
And they ran with that, and it is so beautiful in there.
It's beautiful.
I wanted that to be my apartment. Like, I just want to live in there.
And they even had a little secret door. Like, there was a little
yes, yeah.
Here's the thing. I want to go to the set. I want you to give us a tour.
Well, we always bring in lots of visitors. So when we're shooting again, if you happen to be in Toronto, we're happy to walk you through it.
Not going to happen. Go ahead.
I was so impressed with for the brief screen time with Tom Cavanaugh, the nuance he brought to that role. I got to tell you, at the very end, when they were opening up their letters or the cards that he left for them, when they got to June, I swear I thought they was going to say, "I've always been in love with you, and I'm sorry for everything," because it just he just the vibe he gave off and her vibe. Yeah. Now that's chemistry when you're barely have a scene together and then you hate each other in the scene, but by the end of it, it's like I wanted them to love each other.
Yeah.
Your chili's good.
Yeah.
That's
beans or no beans.
Yeah.
There was some
so good.
Great humor lines too, Kathy. You were even saying where he says, "No."
Oh my gosh! I go with you to question this suspect.
No,
absolutely not. The next scene, he's there questioning. The camera pans back, and there she is.
Yeah.
And she says something like, "I thought we agreed you were just gonna watch."
I know.
So it's great to see the progression of their relationship, where he's just pretty much she's gonna do what she wants. I might as well
he
go
is
with
absolutely.
Her.
Robin says, thank you for your time tonight and explaining so much. Love this series, and so looking forward to season 2. And with the fact it's Christmas is even much more is so much more and exciting for me.
Thank you so much.
This is Teresa. Ken, you've been so generous with your time. I'm simply mad about this series and hope we will be able to enjoy Mistletoe Murders for many more seasons.
Me too.
Yeah. And but Robin is loving the stunning is the set. It's very realistic, and the designers. We'll have to have them on one day.
Yeah, I think every set we've had, every location we've had, everyone has just gone out of their way. There's some really spectacular season 2 set pieces as well, with some sets for the worlds that we're in, and just outstanding work from our crew, top to bottom. Just the best people.
So, would you also share with your wife how grateful we are that she remembered your idea and shared it with the powers that be? And that's why we have Mistletoe Murders. So tell her she's right up there in our estimation with you. We appreciate her.
Well, the first thing she'll tell you is how I was a little annoyed with her for doing that, because I was like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do an audible show. Like I wrote this for TV. Like that's what I want to do. I don't know. I'm terrified of this. and then it ended up working out great. So, and
Stretch
she
and grow.
always knew it would. So,
Are you ever going to do a cameo on there?
no, I prefer to stay behind the cameras.
Okay.
You could do one funny and simple. You could do
Someone
something.
checking out at the register in the store.
Yeah.
I do a couple of little voices in the Audible version, but
Okay.
probably won't be able to pick them out. But I always did a little voice cameo, but I generally stay away from the camera.
For anyone that wants, I'm so sorry, Roxanne. I
No,
swore I'd
no.
shut up. So for those who want to check out the Audible, like me, where would we go?
I think you have to go to Audible. They have a like a monthly free trial period. You can sign up for the free trial period and listen to everything you want to listen to for a month, and then split if you want to.
And
But
just
I do think
Mistletoe Murders.
Yep, and Middlebridge. There's a spinoff as well.
Yes.
What's the name of the spinoff?
Middlebridge Mysteries, and it's Violet at university, and Violet is now in criminology courses and is solving little school mysteries, and it stars Eric McCormack and
from Will and Grace.
yeah.
Oh my gosh!
And
I love that.
Anna Cathcart, who plays Violet on the Audible Mistletoe Murders, is carried through into Middlebridge.
Okay.
You have on the official Mistletoe Murders official Instagram account, there is a link for the Audible, but it's for Middlebridge. Let's see the link. The Middlebridge Mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a link that it takes you there. Kathy on Instagram.
Okay.
That is there.
Yeah, and if you go there, that'll automatically link to the Mistletoe Murders and all that. I think also if you are an Amazon Prime customer, I think you get access to the first couple of seasons.
Yeah. Yes. We are. I love Amazon Prime. That's actually, I went through them to get my Hallmark Plus instead of from my direct TV.
Right. Yeah.
It didn't work that way. So I went in that way and it worked perfectly.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And I've given Hallmark Plus out for like gifts and things. And,
that's really nice.
Yeah.
That's a good gift.
We love it. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. So all three of us are going to say goodnight together. And then if you could just give us like a minute of your time behind, that would be great. Okay.
Of course.
Is there anything that you would like to say before we go to your fans?
Just, thank you. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for supporting the show. And, if we want to keep getting seasons, the best way to do that is to watch the show, because, it's Hallmark has a pretty high standard for renewing shows. So the more people watching, they're really looking for that. So if we keep the numbers high, we can run forever.
So that's a good thing. We're big on this. So I have a whole study on it and have shared it for other things, but I want to ask you a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
What is it for? I know that if you're on X and they actually have it collected when you use the hashtag and it gets to trend, did they talk to you anything about that or no? No. Okay.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Yeah. Because we do like a tweet fest for it and we get
it.
And it has, for anything for Hallmark, like we've done it for When Calls the Heart. We've done it for certain movies, things like that. And they have like the hashtag, which is Mistletoe.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? My wife is like, she's the one that does all our social media. She's like, she does so much. I barely ever.
That's okay.
Yeah. I'm right. I'm always busy, but she's she's all over it. So she's really kind of the one that does all the and she looks at all of that too. Like she watches all the content and she reaches out and she talks to everybody and she loves that aspect.
Right.
Here's some homework for you or your wife, for both of you. We're struggling what to call ourselves as fans of the show. So When Calls the Heart, they have the Hearties.
Yep.
And The Way Home, we came up with the Ponderers because it's
official.
about
Hallmark lets us use it officially with merchandise.
Yeah. So for Mistletoe Murders, you know, we've come up with some stuff that really isn't working. So you come back to us.
Okay.
And let us know what you think.
I'll workshop it.
We should call ourselves. Yep. We'd love that.
Because the big toes is not working.
What about toe jam? It's my jam. It's our toe jam. Mistletoe jam. Okay. You see why we need help, Ken.
Well, you know, I think we can do a little bit better. I think
All right,
we'll find it.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Thank you so much.
See you next time.
Good night. I'm going to end. Good night. We'll be back next Sunday. Oh, I can't wait. Bye.